You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
What's up? Welcome to Kevin's Other Show. Hopefully you heard me this morning on KVJ show. Now it's Kevin's Other Show. I think today on KVJ, I actually said, just dial into our podcast, KOS, Kevin's Other Show. And I was like, oh, wait, man. And I don't think the other two were listening.
They weren't listening?
I don't think they caught it. And I wasn't sure that I did it for sure, so I didn't make any point of it. But I'm like, oh, my gosh, I got to remember this. I got to get this straight here.
It's really funny. When we were doing the spelling bee, you accidentally said KVJ spelling bee. You said K and then stopped for a quick second and then OS.
The more I'm doing two shows, I think the more I'm going to be screwing this up.
And the fact that your name is in both of them doesn't help.
It seeed like a great idea at the time. Now I'm starting to see the flaws.
Yeah. Now it's a bit of a setback. Tiny bit narcissistic, but just a bit of a setback.
Well, you know, it is definitely narcissistic. I sound like Trump over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, this guy's good for so much entertainment, man. He is the drama du jour again. No matter what.
Stop.
I mean, you're talking about entertainment. I mean, it was all about that with Roseanne. There was that feel of the Trumpism in that. It's just like he's got
a stranglehold.
He's got his fingers in everything that we do. I can't go to either show without getting away from this cat. Like, it's sports, it's entertainment, it's everything he's involved in. And now it's all about the Philadelphia Eagles and what exactly happened with their visit to the White House. Now, Golden State Warriors last year, they bailed on it. They said, nah, not going to do it. So it wouldn't be the first time this has happened. But
I don't think they were uninvited. They just said they weren't coming.
Well, now there's new spin from the White House, and they're trying to get ahead of this. And according to White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's basically trying to pin it now on the Eagles, that they, in a sense, are the ones that canceled, not that they were disinvited, because some people were like, well, wow, that looks kind of petty when Trump thinks that only less than 10 of a 53-man roster is going to show up. And he's like going, oh, yeah, if you're not going to show up, you're not invited. And people, apparently, they started to catch that wave, which is where it was heading.
That's what I thought it was. I thought they were uninvited.
This is a relatively new statement that has come out. Now, she is saying that the Eagles notified the White House last Thursday that 81 individuals, including players, coaches, and managers, would be attending.
Oh.
However, the team got back in touch with the White House late Friday and tried to reschedule, proposing a time when Donald Trump was going to be overseas. How convenient. We'll come to the White House as long as he's not there. Yeah. In the end, she says the Eagles offered to send only a tiny handful of representatives to the event, while making clear that the great majority of players would not attend. And then that apparently is when everything fell apart. So
I can understand why he would uninvite them in that situation, because if you think about it, they're saying that, especially if it's true that they tried to reschedule for him not to be there. Isn't the whole point not to be at the White House, but to meet the president? Isn't that the whole point?
That's what it traditionally has been.
Yeah, they give him a jersey and everything like that.
That's the photo op. And then, initially, what Trump had basically said is that, for the 1,000 fans planning to attend this event, they deserve better. So, no, don't even come. If it's only going to be less than 10, forget about it.
Have you ever heard of the fans showing up to this?
No.
I had never heard. Is that new?
I didn't know anything about it, but they never.
Do they have a big barbecue or something?
When I see it, it's only a quick shot, and it's a close-up shot where they're on the steps of the back end of the White House, so I don't see what's around
the Rose Garden.
Yeah, so I've never seen what that is. So maybe they do. And who gets the invite? If
That's
you're talking
what I'm
about
saying.
They can't randomly just say, and especially when you're talking Eagles fans.
First come, first serve.
These people punch police horses and then eat their crap. It's like
true.
You can't have
the police horses' crap, not their crap.
Right, exactly.
Well, you have to be specific.
Well, no, they probably eat their crap too. I don't want to disqualify their own crap because they probably have. We just didn't see it.
Yeah.
You can't invite 1,000 of these kind of fans onto the grounds of the White House and just you want in, you want in. No, you got to do some kind of figure out who's going to be in there. So this is kind of the big argument is about it's going back and forth. Trump then is going to, instead of having the Eagles, he's inviting out the U.S. Marine Band and the U.S. Army Chorus.
He's going to bring out Lee Greenwood to play. Proud to be an American.
So there's just all kinds of fighting going on. Then, of course, he later tweets out, he says, staying in the locker room for the playing of our national anthem is as disrespectful to our country as kneeling. Sorry.
I said, didn't I not say this? I was like, this is going to be the new protest. Is staying in the locker room. You give them the option, and you create a wormhole.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did.
Well, this is just kind of some of the byproducts of, in a sense, looking back, how disastrous the NFL decision on their anthem has been. And honestly, this might be step one of this thing even getting worse.
Which is kind of hard to believe, but I think it really is.
It is hard to believe, but I'm going to tell you how I think it could get worse. I was reading this article that the Slate wrote that argues that the First Amendment, which generally applies only to governments, should apply to the NFL's policy on the national anthem because the policy was the product of demands by government officials, including the president. And you remember Mike Pence, the vice president, has also been vocal on this policy as well. They say in this article the First Amendment might also apply to the NFL's stadiums because of all the government subsidies used to pay for them. So you're starting to see how all this is starting to wrap together, and this is setting up for what could be a court case going against the NFL's anthem policy. Now, they say it's a much clearer case that the NFL policy violates a host of state constitutions where this lawsuit could happen. It might be fought in state courts, but California's Constitution's free speech clause begins, every person may freely speak. And when that was tested in the Supreme Court, our federal Supreme Court, they even backed up that state constitution. And often they say, look, state law is the highest law of the land. So the anthem policy, and especially you could see California going first with the Constitution they have and as liberal as that state is and the way they feel about Trump anyway. If you want to really start making this thing look bad and try to throw some legitimate mud at the president's face, trying out this NFL anthem policy in court might do it. It goes on to say that although the Supreme Courts of these states generally tolerate reasonable rules to minimize the disruptions that protests can create, they generally strike down rules imposed to protect against a disruption unlikely to happen, to limit the content of a protest or to avoid the backlash against an unpopular viewpoint. So as long as you don't think that any violence is going to happen as a result, and in this case, just kneeling for an anthem, it's been proven is not causing any violence in the stands.
Yes, it's true.
So they're saying, look, if they're just making a statement without creating or inciting any kind of violence, they should be allowed to make that statement.
I mean, I get it, but if they're going back to your original statement, we're saying that the original reason why they were brought out on the side of the field was because of the government run by the president. Donald Trump wasn't president when that rule came into play.
Well, here's what is happening now is they're saying, well, the rule, you mean the recent anthem policy?
Not this recent. I'm talking
that's
about
that's what they're going to attack. They're going to attack
that.
They're going to attack this recent anthem policy to try to get it overturned.
Okay.
The one that they have right now where it's
like the reason why they're on the field in the first place.
Yeah, no,
is not because of
the
Trump.
one that says that either you're standing or you're going to be in the locker room, that's going to be the one that they're going to challenge.
And you know what they
should? Saying, and the reason being is that the president influenced this, and the president should not have influence on your freedom of speech. The freedom of speech then is going to go to the state constitutions, and it will be a state-by-state issue. California looks like they would immediately be able to contest this, make a case out of it, and get this thing tossed out. So any team or any game that happens in California, you are not to abide by that rule. You can kneel if you want to, and they can't do anything about it because within that state, they can make the rules. The Supreme Court has even said regarding this issue, we're going to defer to the states.
See, it seems so it's so mucky.
Well, and it's so messed up because, again, you're right, no Eagle player was even kneeling for the anthem this last season. There was one player that didn't even make the team in the first preseason game that took a knee, and that was it. And that guy gets cut, and he's not even part of the Eagles. So during the regular season, no one has taken a knee for the Eagles, so it's not even an issue. Again, the NFL making this anthem policy now has recreated an issue.
They've Donald Trumped him. They've Donald Trump themselves.
Yes, and now the problem they've got is because of the transcripts, remember, from the NFL owners' meetings that came out, and now depositions taken in the Colin Kaepernick collusion case against the league, they now have the ammunition they need to take this to court to try to throw out the NFL's anthem policy on a state-by-state issue. I would expect to hear an announcement from California saying, yeah, you know what, maybe we should contest this.
It's unnecessary to be this crazy.
But
the NFL did this to themselves.
I know, but this whole Eagles mess that we've got here today really could be step one of this thing getting even messier. As you look at this today, be going, what a mess. Let's get through this before, and hopefully it'll clear up. No, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
I mean, it seems so. It's just like it's so bizarre that where are we right now with this? Like, what is actually
It's a complete
happening
mess. It is a complete mess. As long as Donald Trump has his hands in anything that's going on, and all he is doing is just fanning the flames. I mean, the fact he says, well, if they're not going to show up, I'm not going to do this to their fans. So, let's just go ahead and cancel the whole thing, and we're going to replace you with a true display of patriotism, and we're going to play the Yankee Doodle Dandy and the anthem all day long on the White House lawn, and that's what America's all about. And then the people in the Midwest and the Trump base is going to be like, yeah, that's it. And this whole battle that is going on about patriotism in the NFL is going to continue and only get worse and more heated.
It's a situation where Trump doesn't care if the NFL has bad ratings because
no, he doesn't.
In the end, it doesn't make a difference on how people vote.
Do you understand why the NFL cowtails so much to Donald Trump?
Well, because they get a lot of government subsidies. A lot of government subsidies.
So
first of all, aren't they a non-profit organization?
Which
is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Why they seem to bow to whatever it is Donald Trump's trying to do. And keep in mind, how do you ever keep this guy happy? How are you going to keep him tamed and
a well-done steak, maybe,
so that he's going to continue to love you? I mean, it's like they're trying to appease to something that is not going to be appeased.
But he knows the owners are not all on the same page on this. He knows. And that's why he's working their weakness in that sense, because he knows they're not on the same page.
He loves drama. He loves conflict.
He absolutely loves it. And you know what, though? Because this is what it's doing. It's a power move on his part. And the people that are big supporters of him go, yeah, a power move. I mean, you see the El Capitan, whatever the hell he's named, from Barstool Sports. He's on his platform going, this is a total power move.
Yeah, it is a power move because, the Philadelphia mayor, he went back to Trump. His response was disinviting them from the White House only proves that our president is not a true patriot, but a fragile egomaniac obsessed with crowd size and afraid of the embarrassment of throwing a party to which no one wants to attend.
That's what crowd size.
Well, it goes all the way back to the inauguration.
Okay. Because all those people had to work. That's the reason why they couldn't be there.
Right. So this is all it is. And honestly, who cares?
I don't understand what anybody does.
All it is, it's a political fight that's going on between the mayor of Philadelphia, the president of the United States, NFL owners, and ultimately people who would like to get some football can't, because this is what is dominating the sport.
But you know what, though? Come Sunday, I'll still be watching. And I don't know who's not going to be. This blows my mind.
I will be, because I'm not one of those people that will. I just honestly
I separate my politics from my sports.
More than ever, I'm so over it. I am so over it. Yeah. I'm like, just stop it. Yeah. Just stop it already. Just, you know what? I don't know. Don't show the anthem on TV. I don't know. This is something new we did at 2009. How'd the players stay in there? Why did everything was good in 2008.
Because it just turned into a thing. Listen, if it was any other president, would they make it such a big deal, meaning the president? I don't know. There's no way to answer that question.
Because he makes everything a battle, a contest of wins. And he claims wins, and he claims you a loser, and no one wants to feel like a loser. Everybody wants to win, and that's not really what's important.
Yeah, it's society now.
Nobody cares about the fans.
No, not really. But I'll still be watching football on Sunday. So,
well, coming up here in just a few, Aaron Judge, yes, impressive, but he did something last night that no one has done since 1920. I will tell you about that next.
Stop. No. Kevin's Other Show.
The KVJ.
Don't tell those other guys. 640 The Hurricane.
Well, those Yankees are always breaking some kind of record. Usually they're good. Not always. Aaron Judge last night did something that hasn't been done since 1920. Impressive.
What was that, 9 Ks and doubleheader?
Yes. First player since 1920. You're a little too hard on him. He only got 8.
Wow.
He had 9 at-bats.
Felt like 12.
Yeah.
I can imagine watching it. It felt like 12.
Yeah. We got our boss and Yankees homer in here, Leo. Anything going on with the Yanks, we got to have him in here. I mean, ultimately, okay, pretty decent night. A little bit of a doubleheader yesterday going on. In fact, the only way you could catch our show. And if you ever, listen to 640 The Hurricane and you're like, oh, where's Kevin's other show? And there's a Yankees doubleheader going on. Just go to the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, you can find us right there, Kevin's other show. So we did do a show yesterday, but it wasn't airing at its usual time.
Tweeted John Sterling like, what the hell, man?
Yes. Doubleheader against the Tigers. You got 7-4, good for you. Game 1, dropped the second game 4-2. Aaron Judge, through the course of it, had a much worse second game than he did first game.
5 Ks.
Yeah.
5. What surprises me is he goes through these little places where it seems like he doesn't see the ball at all. And there was one yesterday where, it's a 2-strike count, and it's a fastball literally right down the middle. And I'm thinking, now look, I'm not a professional baseball player, obviously, but
is it an 0-2 or has he got a couple balls on him?
I can't remember the exact count. I just remember it was a 2-strike count. But the bottom line is, as a power hitter, you are taught to look fastball and adjust. Mm-hmm. And apparently he was looking for not fastball because it went right down the middle at about 92. And it wasn't like it was a little bit off the plate or it was high or it was low or there was any way that he could think that it wasn't going to be a strike. It's just that he wasn't looking for that. And by the time you realize, if you're not looking for a fastball, by the time you realize it's a fastball, you're not going to swing because there's no way you're hitting a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball if you were thinking curve, So I just don't get it. When I see him do those, I'm like, man. But then the next game, the guy will come out and he'll smack one 470 feet and you go, okay, it's cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all good.
Yeah. Do you think that his strikeouts are going to improve as he, the longer he plays? I mean,
look,
keep in mind, he's a young dude.
Now, there's other factors here with these strikeouts. And I can't tell you where to go find the stat, but if you Google it, I'm sure you will. He has the most non-strike called strikes against him in baseball, and it's not even close. So the amount of balls that are out of the zone that are called strikes against Aaron Judge is like a percentage that triples the next guy.
Is he swinging or are they called against him?
These are balls that are out of the zone that he's not swinging at that are called strikes.
With bad officiating.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so you're saying that so it's officiating that is keeping Aaron Judge down, not Aaron Judge keeping Aaron Judge
Listen,
down.
I'm not saying that he's the greatest hitter of all time, but there's the other stat is if you start off the at bat 0-1 compared to 1-0, the batting percentage, the batting average drops 150 points.
I believe that.
So if you start off if it's 1-0,
it's a big pitch.
Now the major league average of a 1-0 count is like 3-something, whereas the major league average of an 0-1 count is like 150. So right off the bat, you're 150 to 200 points average down percentage-wise across the majors with that count. So if Aaron Judge, being the guy who has the most non-strikes called strikes against him, goes up and a ball that's a foot off the zone and low is called a strike against Aaron Judge, his percentage just goes way down. It's just math.
It would for anybody, but that's such an important pitch, that first pitch. And an at-bat because, it really sets the tone as to who's leading in that at-bat.
So the question that a lot of Yankee fans have for MLB is, listen, the guy's 6'7". You have to tell the umpires you can't have the same zone called for this guy because when you say that's a strike, it's literally at his it's at his ankles. It's like he's sitting there as tall as he is. The zone doesn't match up the same for him. So when you're supposed to go knee to chest, it doesn't work that way for Aaron Judge because he's a big dude. So a ball that you're calling a low strike is not. It's even lower for him because he's so tall.
It's one of those archaic MLB rules too that you can't argue balls and strikes. You can't. They just still have one guy being like, "Yep, that's that."
Right.
It's archaic.
Is anybody a fan of doing that, where you let the computer just decide and you just?
That's growing, and I tell you why
it should happen.
I tell you why it's growing. It's because listen. we all have HD TV. It's the same way when MLB was the last professional sport. When I say that Little League Baseball implemented replay before MLB,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
lying. That actually happened.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball was stubborn in trying and getting to, doing that. We have HD TV. You put up the little K zone. So basically, every network shows me how crappy the officiating is.
That's one of the things I don't understand. Like when you watch an NFL game too, you're like, why don't they just have direct TV on the field? These refs are just they're sitting under the hood for so long to see what we're seeing in clear daylight.
Yeah.
Well, what cracks me up, too, is then they give – so for the NFL guys, they give them this. Here, they're like, here, look at this little screen. Tell us what you see. By the way, you're not making the decision. The guy in New York is. Stop the facade of having a tablet on the field. That's BS. At least the umpires of MLB go over, they put their headset on, and they wait to be told by the guy who's watching the replay, safe or not. They don't pretend to be looking at anything because they don't make the decision. Somebody else makes that decision who's not even anywhere near the stadium, by the way. They're looking at the replay. So the auto zone for me makes sense. Look, you can sit there all day long. I like the human element. I actually don't, because the human element can change a game.
I agree.
Especially in the playoffs when you're sitting there like last year. The Yankees were one game away from the World Series, and those two games that Verlander pitched, the strike zone that guy got was criminal. This guy doesn't need help from the officials to be a badass pitcher.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it. Yet they were giving him calls that were off the plate, low, high, all over the place. You're literally taking the bat out of people's hands.
I don't understand how anybody could justify where they love the human element of error. If you could have a game called flawlessly, even if it's by a computer, why wouldn't you want that? With so much hanging on, I mean, you look at game one in the NBA Finals, you don't have to go far. I mean, it changes, of course, everything you do, and especially when you introduce more sports betting that happens. And I know only that one time there was that NBA ref, they're like going, okay, what's going on? Is this guy on the take? But when you add the human element into it and there's more money and more things riding on it, there's more suspicion as to people already think so many major league sports are rigged. Why add more to it when more money is a part of it?
Well, because, and that goes back to your point. It's perfectly said, because all you're doing is allowing me to think that you still want to control the outcome of these games.
Yeah.
And then the NFL and all these other sports wonder why people start to go away from the sport. Why do you think the decline is there?
Sure.
It's not for all the political reasons. Look, that may have a little bit of things to do with it, but it's because people are sick and tired of watching BS calls.
Yeah, at least wrestling doesn't pretend that they're fixed.
Right.
You know?
So
So
you
you
talk
admire
about wrestling
them.
without Diener here.
You admire them.
Yes. Yes.
There was some good drama last night, though. If you didn't
Yes.
realize, the pitcher that Stanton was facing, Mike Fiers, this is the guy that, if you're a Marlins fan, you remember when Stanton got hit in the face. So he's
horrific.
seeing this guy last night at bat with the Tigers. And in this at bat, Mike Fiers hit Stanton again.
Yes.
2 outs, 3-1 count on Stanton. Pitch. Hits Stanton, and Stanton gives a little look, and now has something to say to Mike Fiers. And now Stanton going to take a step towards him as the benches will start to trickle out. Stanton will go towards first as James McCann walks him there.
He's like, no.
Yeah, I kind of get it.
Here's the worst thing that the pitcher could have done. As soon as you do this, as soon as you throw your hands up,
in the air,
and
yeah.
you look,
Exactly.
even if you're saying,
Right.
your mom is the prettiest woman I've ever seen, she's a saint, I love her.
Yeah.
When you throw up your hands, you are inciting that, at that point, the words you're saying aren't heard. Because he was like, look, man, I'm not trying to hit you.
Dude,
but
you
you
caved his
did
face
this.
in once before,
You did this, and all Stanton sees is, I want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's exactly what happened. And you know the history. And you came up and in with him on a fastball. And look, it only hit him in the elbow. But, dude, getting hit with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball sucks wherever it happens.
Exactly.
He
Especially
tried-
if you have PTSD of getting hit in the face.
Oh,
Sure.
my God.
But he tried justifying it, saying that he's got to go inside against power hitters. And so that's just what happens. But listen to what Mike Fiers says after the game about Stanton's reaction to getting hit by that pitch.
I understand that he's pissed, but it's the way he handled it today, I think it was kind of childish. I mean, anybody knows, watching this game that, I'm not throwing at him. So, he's going to act how he's going to act, and, but it kind of shows kind of his character, because obviously I wasn't throwing at him. Pitch was in, and, if I could throw a pitch anywhere I wanted every time, I'd probably be one of the best pitchers in this game.
Wow.
Which you're not.
He basically
Thanks for clarifying that.
he basically calls Stanton a baby and then calls out his character for the way he reacts to getting hit by a guy who's already caved in his face and the reason why he's wearing that helmet.
Here's the funny thing. He needs to look no further than his own teammate, Miguel Cabrera, who last year, if everyone remembers this moment, someone on the Tigers got plunked accidentally, and Miggy went up and down his dugout crying like a little baby until a pitcher finally retaliated and hit somebody on the Yankees. And then he came up and tried to talk smack to Romine, the backup catcher, who then took his ass to the ground, and it was on. So, listen, people, it doesn't matter whether you sit there and say it wasn't personal or not. You're lucky that the Yankees didn't plunk 7 of your guys after that.
Yeah.
But the Yankees are that one team that don't really usually play the retaliation game. And that's, as a fan, I'm over there going, listen, whether it was on purpose or not, someone needs to get drilled. Because it needs to be said, it's not okay.
Oh, and by the way, Stanton's reaction in the next at-bat.
His displeasure with getting hit and his reaction had a lot to do, you think, with who it was, and he's going to like that. And he is going to make sure and stylize that trot.
Yes.
A bomb off the bat of Giancarlo Stanton as he wins this battle with Mike Fiers. And he gives a little point back to Mike Fiers after he crosses
There you go.
Okay, my question after seeing what Giancarlo Stanton is, what's better satisfaction? Going yard at the next at bat or running out to the mound and kicking the guy's ass?
Ooh, I don't know.
If you're Stan, what would you rather do? Because the right answer, I guess, is
The moral answer.
The moral
would be-
answer is going yard, getting him back in the game. But I mean, there's got to be a satisfaction, especially when a guy throws his hands up after plunking you what he did to you in your face.
I think if any player could tell you honestly what they'd love to do, it's that they'd love to be able to pick up the ball and throw it as hard
Right.
and hit the person exactly where they got hit.
Should be fair, right?
So it's
Eye
like
for an eye.
if I could do
Yeah.
exactly what I wanted to do in that moment, it would be to pick up this ball and throw it and hit you in the face with it 97 miles an hour and then see how you react to that. Because I think that's what most players would say
Yeah.
they'd want to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Stan's reaction to that?
If it's going to come up and in like that, then yeah, it does. Wasn't trying to hit me in that situation, but still, with the history like it, what happened, don't hit me.
Just don't hit me.
Listen, I'm not going to argue with a guy who's 6'6" and looks like Stanton. I mean,
Yeah.
that dude is jacked.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Monster.
Well, you're throwing your arms up at this guy. He's walking to first, and I'm like, don't make eye contact with this guy.
Exactly. He's like Godzilla.
Just walk away. What are you doing?
Well, coming up, we're going to talk Stanton's former team, the Marlins, and why are they selling $4 baseball tickets?
Oh, boy.
I'll tell you, coming up next.
Welcome to the most introspective sports show you'll ever hear. Oh, wait. Kevin's doing it? Never mind. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
We the best. We just getting started. Another one. We just getting started. Let's win. We just getting started. Looking at my real and the body in my way.
It's a song that's not about baseball. It's about the Marlins, and then they throw in a line that sounds just like less wins. And we just getting started what? Considering what they've done so far this season, I think the only thing you can say is losing.
Yeah, that's about it.
Coming up this weekend, if you're one of those few people that would like to go see the Marlins, good news, $4 tickets.
No way, really?
$4 tickets.
Where are you
That's where
sitting?
we are. You're going to be sitting in the Vista level, which sounds glorious.
I mean, but
Wouldn't you like to sit in the Vista level of Marlins Park?
it does sound very nice, but I assume it's like the seats they just put in yesterday. And they're just like, all right, well, just to let you know, we do have these seats up here. Because nobody ever sees them.
You're going to be very alone.
I mean, the last time I think they were actually in the stadium was when the Yankees were there last.
Yeah. Probably
was-
last time they were used. Yeah, no, probably, honestly, All-Star game, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the All-Star game. It was so funny. Like, when I went to go see the Yankees there play 2 years ago, whatever it was, I had been to a bunch of Marlins games, and I'd never seen anything like that. Like, there was people, the seats, first of all, there's seats above the second level.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever knew that. And
I see them empty.
Yeah, it's weird, though. They were filled. I was like, this is so crazy.
I know,
They're
right?
actually filled.
It's amazing when they do fill the place.
The cleaning crew must have been, like, pissed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is the easiest job on the planet. We only got to pick up, like, 7 seats.
They're doing the 25th anniversary, so they're going to be celebrating this weekend with rollback prices, $4 tickets. That's what it's all about. So they're going to be wearing the teal this weekend.
Pay less? They get a BOGO?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Doing the throwback unis, which all it's going to do for a lot of people be going, gosh, I forgot how great these uniforms were. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I think if anything else, it's probably just actually doing the throwbacks, probably going to piss current fans off even more.
The nostalgia night?
Well, just be like going, gosh, things used to be good. We won 2 World Series in these unis. Now we've got these uniforms, and we're horrible.
Yeah. Maybe it's the stadium. It could be the stadium curse.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, the stadium is definitely an upgrade from what he used to bake when he used to go to.
Oh, no, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
Why
horrible.
not? I don't understand why the Dolphins, I understand they put, like, an upgrade on there, but put a dome on it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to see a game. It's like, I went to go see a Dolphins-Bills game one time for some odd reason. I think I got free tickets. I watched from the tunnel. I couldn't even sit out there. It was so hot.
I know. And it still doesn't completely solve it. I mean, there's still part of the stadium that gets baked during those games.
Yeah, but it actually makes sense to get cheaper seats.
Yeah, it does. Now it does.
Because now you'll
be in the shade the entire time. Yeah. They're going to bring out some old Marlins greats this weekend. Charles Johnson, Levon Hernandez, Luis Castillo, Mike Lowell is going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Edgar Renteria, Antonio Alfonseca, just some of the names. Cliff Floyd, Juan Pierre coming back.
They're going to have to start digging up people soon.
I know, right?
You're going back.
They're doing an alumni softball game on Sunday, post-game fireworks on Friday, so they're trying to do whatever they can. Even on Saturday, they'll give you a rally towel. And then on Sunday, they're giving away 25th anniversary pin for your $4 tickets.
A rally towel?
Rally towels, baby.
What are they rallying?
You got to wave it real hard. In fact, they need a rally blanket. Like a towel is not big enough to get this thing rallying.
The wave it's so hard to be able to knock the pitcher off the mat. I think it's the only way they're going to be able to do that.
Or if you had a rally blanket, you could cover yourself up when you're getting beat.
Yeah.
9-1.
Or tied and hang yourself. Either one.
Yeah. Well, the future of the Marlins lies in Tampa plant outfielder Connor Scott. He was the first pick for the Marlins, the number 13th overall in the draft. He's 6'4", 180 pounds. He's rated as the 3rd best outfielder prospect in this year's draft.
Cool.
Marlins have typically gone with pitchers, so they're trying to break it to the outfield now.
Well, that's worked out really well for him.
Well, I'm wondering, you're probably talking a couple years before this guy's, Marlins ready. But does the failure of Lewis Brinson, who's hitting 162, have anything to do with them going with the center fielder in the first pick?
I mean, it's just Lewis Brinson is having the worst of worst seasons.
I mean, he dropped 2 easy balls the other night and then center field. He's hitting 162.
He was like Cespedes in the World Series. Remember that first pitch in the World Series went right down to center field, and he was just looking up at the lights right behind him?
Right behind him, yeah.
Except this is a regular season game. It's not even halfway through the season, and you suck.
Yeah. The reason why, I don't know if you can get too optimistic, even though you're looking at this saying, okay, they had some good picks, and you'll have to wait a while to find out if anything good happens with them. But none of the team's last 5 picks have reached the majors.
Oh, good.
With the Marlins.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Only
reach the majors with the Marlins or reach the majors at
with
all?
anyone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they've been picking duds on top of it. So with Jeter, are they going to pick better? That's the only hope, is new regime, maybe better picks.
I mean, you never know. Remember we had that stat at that one point in time, and that was like 14 games in or like 20 games in or something like that. They had the same record as they did the year before when they had everybody there.
Yeah, I know.
There's a good possibility that
the first couple of weeks that we could
How
shine.
Am I being positive about the Marlins?
We could shine some. Well, there was some optimism. I mean, now it's bleak.
Oh yeah,
it's tough to find anything.
No, it's.
Only 3 Marlins first-round selections
Chernobyl.
are still in the organization.
Oh, my God. And that's the Bat Boy, the Water Boy.
Just bad.
And Billy the Marlin. They fired him, too, so never mind.
A couple area guys went to. Jonathan India from American Heritage Delray went to the Reds. From Plantation Heritage, Tristan Casas, I guess is his name, don't know if you heard about this kid. He was the draft's number 20 prospect. He's a third baseman, and he came right out and took a shot. Remember Pablo Sandoval that was playing third base for the Red Sox a couple years ago? They picked him up from the Giants and then quickly sent him back. When asked what he would do in order to stick in the position as a major leaguer, he said, obviously watch my weight. If you don't know, Sandoval's nickname is Panda because he's so large, 6'11", weighs 268.
Holy crap.
So he threw a fat joke right at Sandoval, who's really not popular in Boston, so I think a lot of Red Sox fans loved it because they paid this guy $95 million over 5 years for him to hit 237, and they sent him back to the Giants.
See ya.
Yeah, so they kind of loved that.
That's hilarious.
Coming up here in just a second, got an interesting story about a big-time college quarterback that might not be a big-time college quarterback this year because he went high in the draft last night.
Really?
He's a, dual sport athlete.
Huh.
He's pretty solid. He was a 5-star quarterback, too, coming out of high school. And now it looks like he's going to be turning down a couple mil if he doesn't go to the majors. What's he going to do? We'll discuss that. And who would you say is the best five best dual sport athletes ever? Can you even get to 5? We'll discuss coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Well, Baker Mayfield is now firmly set in the NFL.
Yeah.
The guy who's going to take his space, got to feel pretty good about him. He's a guy named Kyler Murray. He's a 5-star coming out of high school. And I'm going, okay, it's all good, right?
Yeah.
As an Oklahoma fan, you're feeling great until you see last night's MLB draft, and he got picked up by the A's. 9th overall pick.
Interesting.
In the draft last night. Now, he's looking at about $4.7 million that he could be making going to the majors. Pretty solid signing bonus on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, so what is he doing?
Well, will he turn that down to stay at Oklahoma and play baseball and play football, more importantly, this season?
It's a joke, right?
Well,
listen, dude, you can go there and friggin' coast and make $4.7 million.
Well, the one thing you're looking at, and apparently a lot of Sooner fans feel confident he's going to come back and still play football.
Wow.
But, I mean, if you got $4.7 million laying on the table and you're going to go risk playing football?
No. What do you? I mean, like, is that even, even a question?
I'd hate. I don't know what's in this kid's head.
Somebody needs to slap his parents for not giving him good direction here. $4.7 million going to go to where you're going to sit in the minors with a bunch of schlubs where they do, the T-shirt cannons and dual hot dog nights for 2 years for $4.7 million, and he was a 9th overall pick. He might actually make it to the major league and make oodles more than that. And you're going to go back and play for the Sooners?
They're saying the only thing about this, he could still sign with Oakland and play this season for the Sooners. That is possible on the way that they could structure the deal that he has with the A's. So that is possible. But the one thing about
I'd love to see that happen.
But do you want to play a violent sport as a quarterback where you could blow out an ACL?
What position does he play?
He's quarterback.
No, but in baseball.
In baseball,
it's like an outfielder or something like that.
I'm trying to see. He is. It didn't say what position he played.
Because I mean, like, if he's like a pitcher,
I don't think he's a pitcher because he hit his. It's all about his hitting. He hit 296, 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. So he's a position player.
Dude, just don't be stupid.
You play baseball, right?
You play baseball. Yeah, you play baseball. You can walk around. You can chew gum. You can spit. You can. I mean, there's so many things you can do where you're not getting CTE. How about that?
But what about the people that have done both? I mean, and there are a few.
Yeah.
And who would you say is the best
aliens.
dual sport athlete ever?
Oh, that's not even a question.
Who is it?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson is the best dual sport athlete.
He just never got because he had a freak injury. He just never got to be able to finish. But I mean, you're talking about a dude that even after the freak injury, coming back, I think he was playing for the Royals again. His first at bat goes yard.
Yeah, but you're remembering major highlights of Bo Jackson. You're remembering him snapping a bat over his leg. You're remembering some of those moments where he's climbing up a wall and making a catch.
Throwing from the warning track to first base.
To me, okay, look at the numbers here, and maybe people forgot about Neon Deion.
Oh no, I mean I would think that they're both in the same realm.
It's not even close.
Okay.
It's Deion Sanders, hand down. Listen to this. Deion Sanders, here's just a quick little snapshot of what he did in 2 sports. He had greater longevity playing in both sports than any other athlete in history. He competed in Major League Baseball from 89 to 2001, in the NFL from 89 to 2005. He led the National League with 14 triples in 92, finished second in the league in stolen bases twice. He also played in the 92 World Series with the Braves, hit .533 in that series with 5 stolen bases.
Christ.
He had a career batting average of .263, 186 stolen bases, 43 triples in his 9-year career. In the NFL, he was selected to play in 8 Pro Bowls as a defensive back, won 2 Super Bowls with the Niners and the Cowboys.
What was the years on Bo Jackson? Because I think maybe now...
8 years in Major League Baseball, 4 in the NFL.
I think maybe now he should be taken out of the conversation just to the fact that he never got to really finish his NFL career because he was a monster in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he got hurt, and he was able to come back to baseball, but he was never able to play football again.
Yeah, I mean,
So maybe there's a tip on the scale there.
When you're talking about well, I don't know. Deion Sanders is a freak athlete too.
I mean, he was.
He wasn't as big, wasn't as strong, but he was a freak athlete. I mean, and to me, when you look at the numbers, because I asked Leo when he was in here, and he said, without a doubt, no question, it's Bo Jackson. You said without a doubt, no. And I was kind of the same way.
I understand where you're coming from on it.
Yeah,
I do, but I'm just saying I think that Bo Jackson he's you want to go freak athlete. He's like John Henry. Like, there is these stories that people tell about.
Yeah, I know.
About how, those stories, they don't really exist for Deion Sanders. But if you put the statistics, yes. But he also played a lot longer than Bo Jackson was able to because of the injury, which is unfortunate.
Got to throw a little bit of love out there. Florida State beat Washington last night, Game 1 of the Women's College World Series in softball. So they just got to win one more. They got a national championship. I believe it'd be their first. And FAU eliminated by the Gators, number 1 overall seed in the College World Series. It's the Gainesville Regional.
Well, hopefully they win.
But they did win one game against Florida.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Lost the second one, the one that was the elimination game. So looking good for that. So big shout out to them. Fighting Owls. Hoot, hoot. All right, check out Kevin's other show. Got the podcast. We're on YouTube. And also follow us on Twitter at Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.